Welcome to Scholar Brick, where we lay to rest the bricks of the past and decide once and for all if they're worthy of their design or if they need to be sent to the Bucket of Necessary Reassembly. Today's set is a 6856 Planetary Decoder from the Exploriens theme. Now, Exploriens was a subset of the Space theme, which was released in 1996 and ran to 1997. Now, the concept of Exploriens is that they are explorers and scientists out to discover new planets and to basically study them and look for fossils. One of the main features of these sets were different tiles that, when viewed under different transparent red and blue pieces, could produce different images. Like this one here, when viewed under a red transparent piece, it produces the image of a face, but when viewed under the blue one, it produces the image of more of a xenomorph from Aliens. Exploriens was not created to be a good guy or a bad guy, as was the case with many of the LEGO space themes, but was sort of a middle ground, just the scientists, the civilians, that operated while the other two factions fought. They could, you could create a story where the Exploriens were helping one side or the other. It didn't necessarily have to follow one or the other. Now, this set, the Planetary Decoder, it's very simplistic in design. It's got wings on either side, it's got little thrusters and tail fins. It's got one big antenna on top to use to either send and receive messages or to use as sort of a scanner of planets. It comes with one Explorian astronaut and a little ray gun, or scanner gun. I like to think of these as sort of just scanners because the Exploriens were a peaceful set. And the set has two transparent pieces, one blue and one red at the front of the craft. Overall, very simple in its design. It has everything it needs for you to know that it is a space vehicle. It's got thrusters, it's got wings, even though technically you wouldn't need wings in space, but it's for kids. The antenna. The Planetary Decoder's unique pieces are these little fossil plates embedded in the wings that, when viewed under the blue or the blue or the red, can produce different images, which is interesting, but it sort of loses its fun factor after seeing it a couple times. It might be fun, a fun attraction for a little bit, but after a while it's just whatever. I'd say the real draw is this well-constructed antenna that they plop on top. It really takes center stage. When you take it off and it's just an open spaceship that anyone could really fly out of. As a functional piece within the Exploriens theme, you can see it as more of a rover than an actual space vehicle. I mean, this is something that hovers above the ground but doesn't blast off through the air like most people would expect a space vehicle to do. You'd more want to keep the wheeled vehicles as the ground explorers, and keep stuff like this to flight-based. I mean, it's got wings, it's got thrusters. It doesn't have a cockpit. It's got a little space for the guy to sit down, but it doesn't have like a seat or controls. So, everything being said, giant antenna aside, I'd say this set needs to go to the Bucket of Necessary Reassembly. Just because they could have added so much more. They could have put on more than 2 thrusters. They could have added bigger wings, or, a cockpit with a windshield, with a chair, and storage for the fossils they're supposedly finding. This thing good. This thing.
Qual più